Call to order the meeting of the Pasadena Independent School District Board of Trustees in regular session on Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. Welcome. In the boardroom of the Administration Building, 3920 Mickey Gilley Boulevard, Pasadena, Texas, at 5:30 p.m. Board members present. Mr. Kenny Fernandez will be here later this evening around 7. Ms. Crystal Davila, Mr. Marshall Kendrick, Ms. Nelda Sullivan, and me, Casey Phelan. Board members absent is Ms. Paola Gonzalez and Ms. Vicki Morgan. Let the record indicate that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting is duly called, and that notice of this meeting was posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. The invocation this evening will be given by Mr. Kendrick and the pledges by Ms. Davila. If you'll please stand.
Pray with me. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love and your graciousness. We thank you for this district. We thank you that you have put people in place to take care of our students, to make sure that they're safe, and so are our faculty and all our employees. So important this day and time with so many things going crazy. We just need to lean back on you and let you take charge. Pray for our country. We pray for the election coming up soon. We pray that your divine guidance will guide us as voters to do what should be morally right and correct. We just pray that as we go through this meeting that you'd guide us and direct us. We pray for all of our employees and students and families, that we lift them up to you for care, for protection and safety, and for thy goodwill. In your name we ask it, amen.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, visible with liberty and justice. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Moving on to public comments. According to policy BED local related items on the open session portion of the agenda, there are no public comments today. Moving on to the policy update presentation, Ms. Sandra Hoon, our general counsel.
We have 6 policies that we're going to go over today. Let's make sure we have this on the screen. Okay, the first policy is CCGB. That should be on in your book in the first tab. And this has to do with revisions recommended to remove provisions related to Texas Code Chapter 313 agreement. And if you are familiar with this, this is commonly referred to as the Economic Development Act, and that did expire in 2022, so there's no reason that those provisions are still in the policy, so they are going to be removed. So you'll see that the provisions have been removed. It's my understanding that the district never had any type of agreement that under this type of, under the Economic Development Act. And just to give you a little background, the act basically it would allow the district to limit a business property value for a set period of time in exchange for the business creating business opportunities, employment for the district. The district never had any of those type of agreements. So we really are just adopting or recommending the adoption of these changes, and you will see the only thing that would really refer to us that's left in here is going to be at the bottom of page 5. And what it says that if we did have an agreement, the superintendent shall ensure that all reporting requirements are met. And it does re-emphasize that within 60 days, a board member or what we call a local government official would have to report if there was any type of conflict of interest. So they just are leaving that part in there. That at the bottom. So there's no changes there. Questions concerning that particular? The next policy is DGBA local, and I'm sure you're familiar with this policy. This is a grievance policy that applies to employees in the district. And if you'll notice, there are some changes you'll see under number 1, 2, and 3. These changes are just cross-references to align with the policy changes in the CKE series and the DIA series. And just a little bit of background, when you file a claim under DGBA, you file your grievance, the policy will identify certain types of actions that should actually be filed under another policy series. So for example, you'll see here, number 5, any complaints concerning a commissioned peace officer who is an employee of the district shall be followed in accordance with CKE. If there's any discrimination claims, then we refer back to DIA. So they're just ensuring that all those cross-references are there. And I'll just scroll through this so you'll see this. There are no other changes to the policy. This policy has been in place for quite some time. The next policy is local. local has to do with homebound services, and it indicates that makes a change so to reflect that there's a change where homebound services can now include psychological services for students as well as your typical medical related conditions. So they've added that in there. So you'll see that addition in the policy. Under general education, you'll see where they've added it. They've also added it under special education. And they also emphasize under special education that the length of time that the student is out does not have to be consecutive anymore. So if it's a 4-week period, does not have to be consecutive for the student to qualify. They would still qualify if there's a break there. So those would be the only changes to that particular policy. Any questions? The next policy is EFB local. And if you recall at our last board meeting, we did talk about EFA local, which was concerning instructional material. This is specifically going to be related to library materials and how that policy has changed. So we can go through here. So there's been some changes, but basically what the policy says under responsibility, it's a district's responsibility to make sure that we have appropriate administrative regulations in place. So once this policy is adopted, we're going to go back and review the regulations that we have in place, and based on your recommendation or your approval, make some changes to those regulations so that we are mirroring what's required in the policy. So some significant items in the policy that I feel are important and have to deal with transparency of the material for parents, what the selection process is, and then also making it clear that the parents definitely may utilize and have access to the online services, our library. One of the things that you'll see up here where we talk about the access plan, the district made a change to make sure that parents could view online libraries by either going to Parent Square, which is a commonly used source, but also if they don't have internet access or having trouble with the access, they can they can contact the campus, actually go to the campus and view the online library, the online catalogs with our internet service. And they can also go, if they want to review the library services, again, making appointments with the principal to make sure that they have access to that. And as you'll see, parent involvement here on page 4 of 9, I think we know this, but they did put it in the policy to ensure that parents and guardians are the primary decision makers regarding their students' access to library. And it talks about how if there's a question, what the process is, what the administration's responsibilities are, to make sure that we understand that that is the expectation. So if we go through the next page, you'll see where there's some ways to challenge any material. This first section talks, and we've already talked about it, the access to the library can be, again, you can go to the campus and make an appointment to actually view the library. We're going down through to, I want to talk about any challenges to the library materials. So there's been some additions here where if there is an informal challenge, the expectation is that we try to resolve all challenges at the lowest level. So there's a process for addressing informal challenges, and we've designated the Director of Libraries to take the lead in that regard. If we end up going into the formal process, one of the changes that was added is that there's a requirement that the district provide a form to parents so they have a document where they can include their challenge. Once that form is provided and the parent returns it, a copy has to go to the superintendent, a copy has to go to the librarian, a copy has to go to the board, and any other person that's designated in our procedures. So the board is not making a review at that time, but they would be informed that there was a formal challenge that was presented. After the challenge is presented, the district is responsible within 15 days to convene a reconsideration committee. The committee would look at the challenge, review the material, and then they have to provide a report within 60 days. Once that report is provided, if there is still a challenge, then under the appeals section, you'll see that the challenge would begin at the level immediately preceding board consideration of a complaint. So, and you'll see the cross references to GGBA and F&G local. So usually that's going to be like for us a level 2, and then it would go to the board. So they would jump in at that particular part of the grievance process. And that's basically a summary. There are a lot of changes in here, and we've already started looking at our administrative procedures, so we're going to make sure that we work on that, and we'll definitely, Dr. Powell will provide you a copy of that so you can see where we're going with that.
I just want to commend Melissa, Rippey and McCullough. The work that they've done has definitely made this process much easier in our district. They've put a lot of time and energy into our processes and procedures, and I think it's a model for a lot of other districts. So I just want to give them a huge thank you on behalf of the school district, because it helps when you educate parents the way you do and educate librarians the way you do and just take this process so seriously. So thank you.
Back to our kids.
Particular policy. So we'll moving on to F&G local. Similar to DGBA, but as it relates to students, this is the policy where parents can file complaints. Or grievances. So again, the cross references were updated here, and again, you'll see, what's really important is a parent can file the complaint, but then the policy will direct them to, in this case, for example, the FFH series, which talks about dating violence. So if the complaint is regarding dating violence, it lets the parent know that they should go look at the cross references to get more information on under the FFH series. So those changes have been made throughout. Again, this policy has been in place for some time, and there are no changes to any other changes other than the cross references here. Any questions to F&G local? And the last policy is GF local. Again, this is revisions are made, cross-references to other policies, CKE particularly, which we know is the one is school safety series. Again, you have the reference to police officer complaints and that they should go to the CKE series. And that's really the only change in this particular. Again, this has been in place for a while. There are no other changes to policy. Any questions?
Thank you. Okay, this time we're going to adjourn to closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.076. We will reconvene in open session at 7 p.m. Mr. Fernandez should be joining us then, so we stand adjourned. We're going to reconvene in open session at 7 p.m. Mr. Fernandez still isn't here yet. We expect him any minute now, which we're going to move on to special recognition.
Well, board members, I'm excited tonight to introduce Tanya Hager. As you know, she's our awesome Executive Director of Career and Technical Education, and she's got some exciting news to present some regional winners, not only outstanding business partners, but she's also going to show you some of our rock star teachers from Sam Rayburn High School. So I'll turn it over to Tanya.
Excellent. Well, good evening, board members and Dr. Powell, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be here to recognize these business partners and individuals who are true champions for career and technical education. Their passion for CTE and dedication to preparing students for the future workforce sets them apart and is the reason they deserve to be honored. The awards they're receiving this evening were voted on by all CTE administrators in the region through the Career and Technical Association of Texas. So their efforts are not only being recognized by Pasadena ISD, but by every district in our region. Our first award goes to PSO Supervisor Preston Moody from the Pasadena Police Department. Mr. Moody's dedication to recruiting students for employment immediately after graduation is commendable and speaks to his commitment to providing career opportunities for young individuals. His active involvement in the classroom, where he presents and trains students to excel in their certification exams, demonstrates his passion for mentorship and guidance. Moreover, Mr. Moody's involvement in preparing students for CTE competitions, where he serves as a judge, highlight his commitment to supporting students' academic and professional development. Please join me in congratulating Preston Moody from the Pasadena Police Department for being the recipient of the Business Education Partnership Award for 2024. The next exceptional business partner I would like to recognize is a familiar face to many of you, and that is Christina Womack, President and CEO of the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce. Strides in promoting and supporting CTE initiatives in our community. She has spotlighted career and technical education on 2 different occasions at the annual Pasadena Taste of the Town, where CTE programs were the beneficiary of funds donated during the live auction. She has also demonstrated a strong commitment to empowering high school students by creating an annual job fair specifically tailored to the needs of our Pasadena ISD students. With her unwavering support and advocacy for career and technical education programs, she has truly made a lasting impact on the future workforce in this community. So please join me in congratulating Christina Womack for being named the 2024 champion for CTE. Lastly, I would like to recognize the Agriculture Mechanics program from Sam Rayburn High School as the recipients of the CTE Showcase of Excellence Award for our region. Not new to Sam Rayburn High School, the introduction of new instructors has revitalized it, making it one of the most popular programs on campus. Students who may not have been initially interested in agriculture are drawn to the welding opportunities offered in the class, and as a result, students feel both challenged and supported in their academic and personal growth, so they find a way to stay in the program and continue their pathway. The program's success extends beyond traditional events, as evidenced by their participation in the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Industrial Craft Competition. Despite being a first-time contender, the Ag Mechanics program achieved remarkable success against some fierce competition, earning a reserve champion in one category and grand champion in 4 additional categories. That is pretty phenomenal. So, yes. Congratulations to David Gutierrez and Noah Schramm-Phelps for the remarkable achievements that led to the honor of them being named the 2024 CTE Showcase of Excellence for our region. Good job, guys. Board members and Dr. Powell, thank you for the time to recognize these individuals for their contributions, and thank you for all the support that you give career and technical education.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Awesome. So as exciting as that was, we have some student council awards, board members, that we want to give out. And we have 17 campuses this evening who are receiving TEPSA Student Leadership. Before they leave, Casey, Board President, Mr. Phelan, you want to, before they leave, Chief from the city was here representing the city of Pasadena. You want to announce who was here from the city?
Yeah, way to get me in trouble. Chief Wright's here. Assistant Chief Dumbro is here. Yeah, I guess he disappeared. Lieutenant Mike Welch is here. I think that's it.
That's awesome. We thank y'all for coming and supporting, and so how much support you give our school district. So we just want to say a big thank you while you're here. So thank you. So they work with our department and our chief to keep our kids safe. So I wanted to do that real quick. But now back to the kiddos and the student council. They're here tonight to receive their TEPSA Student Leadership Award. And 4 campuses are actually going to receive the 2024 American Student Council Association School of Excellence Award. So I have Amanda Kahn here. As you know, she's the PISD Advanced Academic Specialist. And she's going to help us in all of this amazing recognition. So thank you. Take it away.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Powell and the board members, for allowing us this opportunity to celebrate this great event. So campuses across Pasadena School District have been developing student leadership teams. We're proud to announce 17 of our campuses received the TEPSA Leadership Award. This was established back in 2018. This TEPSA award recognizes student leadership teams who have demonstrated exceptional leadership qualities, dedication to their school, and a commitment to making a positive difference in their communities. These students serve as role models, inspiring their peers, and contributing to the betterment of our schools and beyond. We are thrilled to celebrate the remarkable achievements of these outstanding student leadership teams. As I announce all 17 teams and their sponsors, I would ask that you hold your applause, because with that many, it would take a long time to applaud. And I want you to be able to hear every name that's heard. So at the very end, after we have all 17 go through and our 4 that won extras, then we'll give them a big applause and they'll hear that at the end. Thank you very much. So we'd like to start. These campuses include Burnett Elementary, Jay Lee, Principal. Student Council sponsors Karina Diaz and Jessica Arnold. Genoa Elementary, Tiffany Bennett, Principal. Student Council sponsor Lisa Grissinger.
Congratulations.
Jensen Elementary, Erica Morena, Principal. Student Council sponsors Ruby Reyes, Nancy Basario, and Melissa Lozo. Cruz Elementary, Sandra Buckner, Principal. Xavier Leal, Assistant Principal. Student Council sponsors Cindy Resendez. L.F. Smith, Lorena Carasso, Principal, Student Council Sponsor, Doris Ortiz. Moore Elementary, Jill Lackamew, Principal, Student Council Sponsors, Jerry Watkins and Kathy Young. Pearl Hall Elementary, Allison Tamez, Principal, Student Council Sponsors, Suzanne Davila and Sandra Lundy. Carter Lomax Middle School, Rebecca Dietz, Principal, Student Council Sponsors, Alyssa Hinojosa and Stephanie Pelletier. Bobby Shaw Middle School, Darby Hickman, Principal, Student Council Sponsors, Yaneli Aranda and Deborah Gardner. Marshall Kendrick Middle School, Lindsay Fagan, Assistant Principal, Student Council Sponsor, Linda Smith. Morris Middle School, Robin Kate, Principal, Student Council Sponsors, Vanessa Sauceda and Orlando Santamaria. Milstead Middle School, Scott Pollock, Principal, Student Council Sponsors, Melvin Barrega and James Kelly. Nelda Sullivan Middle School, Kelly Cook Cosley, Principal, and Student Council Sponsor, Paige Mayo. Adela Young Elementary, Amy McClellan, Principal, Student Council Sponsor, Julie Scott. Teague Elementary, Sol Maria Benavides, Principal, Student Council Sponsor, Amy Campos. Sparks Elementary, Erica Kirk, Principal, Student Council Sponsor, Dana Babineau. Fred Roberts Middle School, David Blevins, Assistant Principal, Student Council Sponsor, Ashton Ramella. We are also excited to announce that Adela Young Elementary, Sparks Elementary, Teague Elementary, and Fred Roberts Middle School all received the 2024 American Student Council Association School of Excellence Award. Please join us in a round of applause for these 17 campuses.
Well, board members, that is all of our special recognition for this evening, but we really want to say how much we appreciate the work that goes into those awards. Those student councils have grown and grown in their excellence and what they're doing, not only at their schools, but within the community. So we really appreciate that.
Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So move.
Motion by Marshall Kendrick. Second. Sullivan. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Personnel section.
Mr. President, I move that we approve agenda items A through D.
Motion by Ms. Davila. Second by Ms. Sullivan. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Davila.
We have Gladys Garcia. Is Gladys Garcia here? Gladys Garcia has been recommended for the position of counselor at Shaw Middle School. Congratulations. Do you have any family?
Awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
We have Paul Martinez. Paul Martinez has been recommended for the position of counselor at Guidance Center. Where is Paul?
Great.
Hi, Paul. Do you have any family with you?
Congratulations.
Thank you. And then we have Christopher Puente. Where's Christopher? Christopher Puente has been recommended for the position of multilingual coordinator for the curriculum and instruction department. Do you have any family and friends here with you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, congratulations to everyone. At this time, if you'd like to slip out, you're more than welcome to, unless you want to stay.
Fun too. Mr. Lee, if you want to start setting up. Tony, do you want Tom to start setting up?
And now, yeah. And now there are some seats, so those of you that are standing along the wall, you're more than welcome to have a seat. Security, I know. You keep an eye on her.
There it is.
Okay. So we're going to move on to the certified personnel for the 2024-2025 school year, which is for information only. The support personnel for the 2024-2025 school year, also for information only, which brings us to the education section. The Advanced Academics Spotlight, presented by Mr. Tom Lee, the Director of Advanced Academics. We're ready when you are, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Dr. Powell, and our school board. It is my pleasure and privilege this evening to present to you a spotlight on our district's Advanced Academics Department. We serve a diverse student population through various enrichment opportunities, and we foster the development of their intellectual and creative abilities. This is a very concise look at our general program data as part of our annual review process. The state of Texas recommends that at least 5% of the student population should be identified as gifted and talented. Our department has streamlined our process, and since 2021, there's been an increase of 75%, going from 5.5% to 9.6% last year. This compares favorably against other Title I districts that serve economically disadvantaged students across the Region 4 schools and schools throughout the state. 100% of our campuses continue to remain above the state recommended level of 5%. With more students identified as GT, it's crucial for our teachers to have the appropriate certification and trainings to adequately support our student needs. Last summer, over 2,300 teachers attended our training. We offer a wide range of topics, had flexible options for teachers after school, on weekends, and asynchronously online. Our leadership team continued to attend, learn, and train other leaders in the greater Houston area, at state conferences, and at national events. These experiences allow us to showcase our district, stay informed of the trends and best practices, and create valuable connections with other leaders in the field of giftedness. Looking at our student enrichment programs, our GT Showcase boasted over 280 projects from 56 different campuses, all beautifully displayed and expertly explained by our phenomenally gifted students. When you see Kenny, just ask him about the young man that's shown in the picture. Our district had by far the most schools receiving state recognition from TEPSA, as you just saw tonight. 17 campuses were recognized at the state level, and 4 campuses were recognized at the national level. A special mention should go out to Jensen Elementary because their student council team created the 2024-25 theme song of the year for the TEPSA organization. It was a blast at summer camp. We brought in a cave simulation and a vertical rescue lifting experience to complement the CSI and forensic analysis projects. We were also awarded a $64,000 grant for a STEM coding camp by the Texas Workforce Commission. This allowed us to cover the costs for registration of students and buy 10 new Sphero robot kits. Each year, we hold 3 chess tournaments. The competition was fierce, and our students came out on top. 844 students competed at 56 different campus teams, and they improved their critical thinking skills. learned about good sportsmanship, and simply had fun playing the lifelong game of chess. Student participation in our academic competitions continue to expand. In our second year of UIL A+ competition, participation more than doubled, expanding to elementary campuses with fan-favorite events such as number sense, music memory, and oral reading, where students delivered captivating performances to their favorite pros in 6 minutes or less. Our 2024 Spelling Bee received participation from all 57 eligible campuses, and approximately 1,500 students competed. Congratulations goes out to Lomax and Kendrick Middle School for having the district winner and runner-up. Students in the academic pentathlon and decathlon competitions were able to earn scholarship money by placing at state competitions, and they set themselves up as outstanding candidates for prestigious universities such as Yale, among others. At the high school level, Advanced Placement Program continues to increase access and equity for diverse students to be able to take rigorous college-level courses. If you look at the chart, since 2022, we've witnessed high increases in the AP course enrollment, total AP exams taken, the number of AP scholars produced, and our Saturday prep session attendance. As you can see from the chart, we've more than doubled the number of students who had attended the prep session, resulting in 2,079 exams passed. This translates roughly to about 7,200 college hours, thus potentially saving our PISD families about $3.5 million in college costs if students attended in-state public universities such as A&M, U of H, or UT. Thank you to our board for their dedicated support in joining us at the AP celebrations, where our high schools presented over $164,000 to students who passed their AP exam. We would love to see you all again this year at either the petting zoo, parade, or pep rallies. We're so proud of the tremendous work by our students, teachers, and campus leaders. We want to thank you, our district supporters, our administrators, and the board for being our strong advocates. These successes would not be possible without you. And I would be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to recognize two special individuals who worked tirelessly for our district. You saw Amanda Kahn, our GT specialist, and Ethan Reek, our GT coordinator. Would you please both, already standing, to be recognized and give them a round of applause really quickly? And on behalf of our Advanced Academics Department, I'd like to thank you for your support. We are committed to continue this important work every day, and we can't wait to see what the adventure awaits in 2025.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Great.
Great job and great work, and it's awesome for our students.
Move on to the summer school spotlight presented by Ms. Becky Benner, Executive Director, Curriculum and Instruction.
How are y'all today? Good to see you, Board Superintendent. I have slides I believe you have a copy of. Summer school, it's a pleasure to come and report back to you about the outcomes of something that you voted to support. You know, today we're going to tell you a little bit about some big successes.
With some technology help. There we go. We won't count this of your time.
If I put glasses on.
There we go.
All right.
Or that little black box in the corner.
Okay. It's okay. I don't think it's going to tell any secrets.
It'll take points off your score, so you'll be
Yeah,
fine.
you can take some points off for that
Yes,
black
ma'am.
box. All right, let's start with Yeah, exactly. I'll go to summer school with the technology people. All right, elementary summer school, let's start there. Elementary summer programs headed by Miss Lindsay Lesniewski served 2,798 total elementary students in several programs. As you can see on the screen, a little over 2,200 went to the regular summer school program, and they got the necessary support they need to stay on track for next year. We had some kids that went to pre-K and bilingual classrooms so that they could build their language skills and their academic skills to be successful next year. And another 300 or so attended GT camp. And so these kids together completed over 25,000 hours of instruction. And in the GT camp included a program for coding. So they're starting coding way down in the elementary. Middle school programs were led by Miss Tracy Powell. 1,200 or so middle school students attended, and they learned things in their content area. They were accelerated in math so that they can move on and be higher rated when they get all the way through in their math classes. And we had newcomer camps for kids that are learning English. They served 37,000 hours. At the intermediate level, 1,209, almost 1,300 students attended intermediate summer school. They served 40,000 hours. They also had content area instruction, accelerated math instruction, GT type instruction, and bridge camps. And ESL too. We even hosted those at the high school.
That was led by Dan Hoppy.
That was led by Dan Hoppy. Thank you.
I get extra credit.
You get extra credit.
Dan.
The high school program, I led it, believe it or not.
And you did a darn fine job.
I think I did. So let me prove it. 2,200 so students served in summer school with us in June and July, most of them in June. 4,000 credits earned, 4,000. 2,500 of those were initial credits, so they had a lot of work to do to learn during the summer. About half of that was virtually completed. About 1,500 of the credits were credit recovery, super important because these kids now can stay on track with graduation and their attitude towards school. They have, a more positive approach. 69 graduates from summer school. Many of you attended, and it was wonderful to see those kids complete. High school kids completed 46,000 hours of instruction. ESYS, or our extended school year services, are special ed services that are provided to students with disabilities to combat regression during the summer. ESYS was led by Mr. Jeremy Purvis and was provided for 128 students. These students are often in our self-contained programs during the school year, and this helps them remain on track with their IEPs and their graduation programs. Here's some longitudinal data that we've added to. You saw this one last year, and you'll see a big drop in enrollment this year. That's okay. 44% drop in enrollment, but the 2 years with the highest columns, the two previous years, 22 and 23, were impacted because of the requirement of House Bill 4545 or 1416 that required us to do tons of remediation coming out of the COVID situation. So we really have returned to the enrollment, the numbers of around 2021, but still a little lower than the enrollment prior to the pandemic. We attribute this, though, to our intentional targeting of students that we felt would most benefit from summer programs of 5 to additional maybe 15 days of instruction, which is short, right? So it's very targeted. And so we chose kids that we thought would be the most benefited by that, and they were very successful. Our summer school leaders are listed here on the slide. Some of them are able to be here. If you're here, stand up. Efforts by these very talented leaders to make summer school happen, because launching it really quickly is hard, and it's hard work to keep it going and go so hard. So especially with kids you haven't met before and teachers you haven't worked with before, the whole thing is hard, and they did a great job. Congratulations. This concludes our report. Thank you again for supporting this extremely important program for our students. The extended year program is robust, and the flagship, there's nothing better and bigger in our whole area, maybe the whole state, I don't think. And so I wanted to say thank you again on behalf of all of us very much for your support, and we'll keep trying to do a really good job and a better job on the presentation next year.
Fantastic. Good job, Becky. Thank you so much. Okay. Do you have anything? Consideration possible approval of the board resolution to adopt a good cause exception for House Bill 3, armed security. Motion by Ms. Sullivan.
Second.
Second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion?
Board members, I just want to say, as you know, this is required, but we have made great efforts in including information for you about our 36 guardians at the elementary level, as well as we've increased our staff in the police department. Chief McMahon's done an amazing job. We're 3 officers shy, unless you've hired this week. We're 3 officers shy of being fully staffed based on our budget funds. And I see Olivia back there too, great partner in writing grants to get the money to pay for all of this. She is amazing, her and her team. And then also you saw Derek Duckett earlier as we spoke in executive session, another great partner, and they do a great job making sure we're going toward full coverage. And that's our goal, of course. We won't get on my soapbox about funding and state funding and lack thereof, but have done amazing efforts to keep our staff and students safe.
Outstanding. Thanks, Chief. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of a memorandum of understanding with Advance Houston Early Head Start Program for the 2024-2025 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan.
Second.
Second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion?
Yeah, is this a new initiative that the school district is taking, or?
So Avante's been a longtime partner of ours, and they are currently at Cruz and Tegler, and they've been, again, in our district, Donna, for 20 years or more. So they do great work in serving our youngest kiddos in the area. So it's a partnership, and of course funding, I'm sure, plays into that as well. So they've approached us years ago, and we grew it to those 2 locations. And I guess at this time, Donna, has there been any conversations about additions or added locations?
Evening. Yes, they are actually looking at a different growth opportunities. So they're looking at some parent education opportunities that we have at Freeman, and we're looking for another campus, but some of that is facilities because they need locations and classrooms. So they're longstanding at Tegler. They actually have portables out at Cruz, and they function in the back side of that building. So they're always looking for opportunities, but they are limited too in their resources. So the programs that they're growing right now are just not the early Head Start, but they are growing some other programs with us, and we're going to bring those to you next month.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the partnership between the Pasadena Independent School District and Harris County Public Health and Environmental Services, HCPHES, for implementation of Super Smile Savers Program.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Discussion.
Another great partnership.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the school affiliation agreement between Pasadena ISD and HCA Houston Healthcare Southeast.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of a clinical affiliation agreement between the Texas Women's University and Pasadena ISD Nutrition Service Department.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of a memorandum of understanding with the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston to allow campus presentations of the Youth Aware of Mental Health YAM program.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion?
So you'll remember, board members, they came and spoke to us about suicide prevention, and so we've been working to come to a memorandum of understanding so we can take part and provide services for our students.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of multiple 2024 Dollar General Literacy Foundation grant awards totaling $11,569. Motion by Mr. Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks, Olivia.
Consideration possible approval of the Criminal Justice Division of the Texas Office of Governor, CJD, Rifle Resistant Body Armor Grant Award in the amount of $16,461.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan.
Second.
Second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the Texas Education Agency 2024-2026 Effective School Framework ESF Focus Support Grant in the amount of $100,000. Motion by Mr.
Second.
Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the Texas Education Agency 2024-2025 Sustainable Residency Continuation Grant for $250,000 and the Memorandum of Understanding with the University of Houston.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Discussion?
Olivia, you've been busy. We really appreciate it.
Indeed, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration and possible approval of Spark School Park Program projects for Cruz Elementary and Sparks Elementary and the corresponding agreement, including $250,000 in funding.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion?
Got some happy principals there if you vote yes. Sad if you don't. No pressure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the application for a TEA low attendance waiver for South Houston High School.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan,
Second.
second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion?
Sadly, board members, you know we've had some issues with some threats made on social media and otherwise, so this is a result of that. Definitely causes anxiety for our parents, our staff, our students unnecessarily. And so this is, again, what you're going to see perhaps when the attendance drops down significantly from what it was this time last year.
Thank you, Dr. Bell. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the application for a TEA low attendance waiver for Southmore Intermediate.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the 2024-2025 high school graduation dates, times, locations, and authorization to schedule summer high school graduation on a date yet to be determined based on updated end-of-year district schedules. Motion by Mr. Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Discussion.
So it's crazy to think we're talking about graduation, but we are. And the calendar changed as you voted to change the calendar year. So we've got to go back in and change start dates when teachers come back, when administrators come back. So that's why we're asking for that special permission once we get that set to then schedule summer graduation, because that will be different than it has been in previous years.
Thank you.
Is this the same amount that we've paid in the past, Dr. Powell?
It increases a little bit, but this is the same as last year.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the lease agreement with NRG Stadium for the 2025 Pasadena Independent School District High School graduation in the approximate amount of $215,000. Motion by
Second.
Mr. Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration and approval of the Sam Rayburn High School Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, JROTC Raiders co-ed team to compete at the National Raider Challenge at Fort Knox, Kentucky, October 24th through the 27th of 2024.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion?
We want them to come back first place again.
Yes, ma'am. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the Sam Rayburn High School Texan culinary team to travel to Orlando, Florida, April 25th through the 30th, 2025, to compete in the Cook Around the World culinary competition at an estimated amount of $2,000 per student.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion?
We have our awesome teacher here and waiting to hear your vote.
Sweets. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There you go. Consideration possible approval of seniors in the Maritime and Criminal Justice Program of Study at Dr. Kirk Lewis Career and Technical High School to participate in hands-on cruise experience aboard the Carnival Cruise, February the 15th through the 20th, 2025. Motion by Mr. Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Lots of audience discussion.
Yeah.
They actually go on this every year except the COVID year. So it's a learning experience, people, a learning experience.
Any other discussion? Yeah. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval for one Dobie High School FFA member and one FFA teacher to travel to Indianapolis, Indiana on October the 19th through the 26th, 2024 to attend the National FFA Convention.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan. Second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion?
I understand that this young lady is going to sing in the choir. This is
correct.
fantastic that one of our group would be selected.
It's a huge honor. So we're excited to see them go and represent us well.
Outstanding. Excellent. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Which brings us to the policy section. Consideration possible revision of the CCGB local ad valorem taxes economic development. Motion by Ms. Sullivan,
Second.
second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion?
We might want to point out to the group that these policies were discussed at our initial meeting at 5:30, so we're just not voting them in automatically.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible revision of the DGBA local personal management relations employee complaints / grievances.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible revision of the EEH local instructional arrangement homebound instruction.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration and possible revision of the EFB Local Instructional Resources Library Materials. Motion by Mr. Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible revision of the FNG Local Student Rights and Responsibilities Student and Parent Complaints / Grievances.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan. Second by Ms. Davila. Sorry. Page turning. I couldn't hear you. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible revision of the GF Local Public Complaints.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, which brings us to the financial section. Consideration possible approval of the 2024 appraisal roll.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Discussion.
Have to state the dollar amount.
So, David, do we need to state the dollar amount, or that would be acceptable the way it's presented? As presented, okay.
Consideration possible approval of the 2024 appraisal roll. I'm sorry, I moved by Ms. Sullivan, Ms. Davila. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And just for the record, the total certified and uncertified taxable value, is that what I'm looking at, Tamika? That would be, okay, 25 billion. Is that? Okay.
I don't have enough space to write that down.
We will have that in the minutes for all to see.
Thank you. Consideration possible approval of designation of investment officers.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion?
This is just adding our new CFO, so making sure we have that updated.
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the operations section. Consideration possible approval of the construction contract with, I'm going to butcher this, Dramala Construction Company, Inc. for the 2022 bond new, and it's supposed to say Bailey, but it's written in here as Jessup. It is Jessup?
It is Jessup.
Okay. 2022 bond new Jessup Elementary School replacement project in the amount of $35,486,326.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kendrick, second by Ms. Sullivan. Is there any discussion?
We do have representatives here. We have Rusty Kloss, CEO. Seth Smith is here as well. If you want to stand, please. Thank you, Executive Vice President. And then is Nate here? He'll be Hutchison. He'll be our project executive. So they're here as well.
Excellent.
Any questions?
Is there any
Thank
questions
you.
from the board?
It's nice to have you aboard.
Good to see you again. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of allowance expenditure authorization AEA number A-015 for the 2017 bond transportation center replacement project in the credit amount of $50,750.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Is there any discussion? We will take the credit. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible allowance expenditure authorization AEA number A-017 for the 2017 bond transportation center replacement project in the credit amount of $8,419.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of allowance expenditure authorization AEA number A-018 for the 2017 bond transportation center replacement project in the amount of $51,150.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Is there any discussion?
I read with amazement where the water line was connected under the street. Does that surprise us of construction of 50 years ago?
I don't think it totally surprised us, but Kevin?
Interesting. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of allowance expenditure authorization, AEA number 008, for the 2022 Bond CTE Classroom and Lab Improvements Project at Sam Rayburn High School in the credit amount of $7,319.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Let the record reflect that Mr. Fernandez is here now. We missed you. Yeah. Consideration and possible approval of an HVAC testing and balancing service agreement to National Precision Air LLC for the 2022 Bond CET Classroom and Lab Improvements Project at Sam Rayburn High School in the amount of $11,850.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of allowance expenditure authorization, AEA number 01, for the 2022 Bond New Parks Elementary School Replacement Project in the amount of $135,614.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sullivan, second by Ms. Davila. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of allowance expenditure authorization, AEA number 02, for the 2022 Bond New Parks Elementary School Replacement Project in the credit amount of $14,401.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Fernandez, second by Ms. Davila. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration possible approval of the reorganization of the bond program management team to meet the current needs of the district. Bond program manager, data governance and reporting annual contract of $130,000 to be paid by the 2022 bond program management budget.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Fernandez, second by Ms. Sullivan. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Construction updates for information only brings us to the miscellaneous section. District-wide intruder detection audit report findings is for information only. Consideration possible approval to name the main hallway at Parkview Intermediate School as Hassan Hallway in honor of Dr. Robert Hassan and related actions. Motion by Mr. Fernandez.
Second.
Second by Ms. Sullivan. Dr. Powell.
So tonight, board members, this is a huge honor. A friend and, of course, a beloved principal and, of course, man, a husband, son. His family is here honoring him as well, so we're thrilled to have them here. His wife, that he could never stop talking about how much he loved and cared for, Renee Hassan. And then he has his mom, who was my school nurse at L.F. Smith and told me to go back to class every time I complained of a stomach ache, but took such good care of the children. It was fake. I didn't have a stomach ache, so I'll be honest. And then, of course, his sisters are here as well, Sandra Hassan and Cindy Allen. And just a great family representing Dr. Rob Hassan and, of course, Parkview Intermediate representatives as well. So we're thrilled to have all of them here tonight.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
So we will wait for the campus to tell us when that celebration's going to be. And there's a picture of Dr. Hassan. And there will be lots of great celebration coming forward. So everyone will get an invite to that celebration.
Dust in the room. What's up with that? Moves us to the public comments according to the BED local related to topics not listed on the agenda. There's a 30-minute allotment. There are no public comments related to the items not listed in the agenda, which brings us to setting the regular meeting on Tuesday, October the 22nd, 2024. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Marshall Kendrick, second by Ms. Nelda Sullivan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We stand adjourned at 7:54.